So I recorded a version of this for specifically One Piece, and then seeing how One Piece, when a lot of people perceive character strength in that series, they kind of follow the Dragon Ball model. And the Dragon Ball model of scaling can be pretty bad, especially when it comes to a series like One Piece or like HunterXHunter or even like Toriko, where the combat complexity is a lot more than just we have a power structure that is the foundation of our power, which in Dragon Ball would be key, whereas in One Piece there's a whole slew of abilities that can come from one category of power, i.e. devil fruits, let alone hockey, let alone base power, and so on and so forth. And in Hunter x Hunter, Nen is an extremely complex battle system, because the possibilities of not only Nen, base Nen, when it comes to Ten, when it comes to Ren, when it comes to Zetsu, but also when it comes to the unique powers you can get, especially when you have the specialist category of Nen. I mean, the emissions, the transformations, the manipulation. There's a whole slew of possibilities when it comes to gauging a character's power in Hunter x Hunter, where you just cannot simply follow. There's no way you can simply follow the Dragon Ball, the Dragon Ball Z, the Dragon Ball Super, the Dragon Ball as a whole methodology when it comes to gauging how strong a character is in a lot of these series. Even in series where you would think that there's like direct parallels, like for example in Seven Deadly Sins, they have a combat class system. Even in this case, there are certain characters that have magical powers that are absolutely broken, like Merlin, for example. So when it comes to gauging overall combat ability, what I do is that I have 10 general categories. And you can, of course, expand upon this, but this is what I do to help me gauge how strong a character is from an overall standpoint. However, it is important to note that a character's strength from an overall combat standpoint is not necessarily the character winning in a one-on-one fight. And again, this goes particularly within series that have very complex battle systems. So a character could have a superior overall combat ability, let's say stat sheet. However, the character themselves would lose in a one-on-one fight considering certain matchups. Like in One Piece, a prime example would be NL and Luffy, where NL was disgustingly powerful. No one could contest him but the main character, Monkey D. Luffy, because Monkey D. Luffy is rubber. So even though NL boasts an amazing power, and Ichiro himself said that if NL was in the Blue Sea, he would have a very high bounty, like 500 plus when it comes to his bounty. Luffy can beat him pre-time skip in Skypiea, because again, Luffy is rubber, and NL, he prioritizes lightning-based attacks, and those attacks were not doing any damage to Luffy at all. So lightning is negated by rubber, and Luffy gets the victory. So again, this goes for a whole slew of series when it comes to matchups, but from an overall combat ability standpoint, here is my list. So number one is DC, and DC means destructive capability, destructive capacity. It is how much a character can destroy. And this I gauge into two subcategories. The subcategories are area of effect and Poen Seed. Now, area of effect simply means that the area at which we're seeing the character destroy, or what they can destroy. So, prime example would be Yamato Genryusai in Bleach. Yamato Genryusai Shigekuni. I think that's I love the name. Yamato Genryusai. In his Bankai state, after a period of time, if he continued to use his Bankai form, him, including the entirety of Soul Society, would disappear, because he was rocking temperatures of the sun. So, even though Yamato Genryusai, in a single attack, never showed the capability to destroy the entirety of Soul Society, his area of effect, over a period of time, would build up to Soul Society level, however big Soul Society is, because of his Bankai ability. That's his area of effect. Another example would be, let's say, Whitebeard in One Piece. In One Piece, Whitebeard showed the ability to grab the atmosphere, kind of bring his arms down, and then tilt the surrounding seas around Marineford. Well, Whitebeard, when he was doing that, there were other parts of the globe, literally other oceans in the world of One Piece that are feeling tremors. And in his prime, it was known that he was far more powerful, and Sengoku himself did say that Whitebeard had the power to destroy the world. Now, whatever context you read that in, whether it's actual planet busting or whether it's life wiping, the thing here is Whitebeard has shown an air of effect that is, at the bare minimum, multi-continent. At the bare minimum, multi-continent in the terms of the One Piece story, because again, Whitebeard was able to affect with his destructive capability a multi-continental area. The second subcategory would be Poen Seed. And to keep in mind that DC does correlate with, let's say, strength or abilities. It correlates with whatever a character's most destructive state is. In a lot of cases, it's their physical might. In some cases, it's the abilities that they have, and so on and so forth. But Poen Seed is a component of DC where the character themselves does not show the same air of effect as, let's say, being able to destroy a mountain, but their abilities or the physical might has the Poen Seed that equals the air of effect of being able to destroy a mountain. So case in point here, I'm going to use one of my favorite characters in One Piece, Sanji. Sanji, as of late in the story, was able to trade blows with Daifuku. And Daifuku has shown the ability with his genie attacks to be able to cut through a whole ring of ships with his attacks quite casually, quite easily. Sanji is able to trade blows with him head to head, countering his attacks full on. So even though we've never seen Sanji bust through a ring of ships, Sanji's Poen Seed is equal to that of Daifuku's because he's able to trade blows with Daifuku. So the attacks that would cut through ships, Sanji's able to completely block with his kicks. That means that Sanji's kicks are parallel to Daifuku's cuts, which would mean that Sanji's Poen Seed is equal to Daifuku's area of effect, where again he can cut through all these ships, and in this case Sanji's able to counter the kick. Another example of this will be Monkey D. Garp and Don Chinzhou. Don Chinzhou in the past was able to cut through the Ice Sheet continent, and as far as we know, according to the story, was the entire continent. But Monkey D. Garp has never been able to show that. However, when they traded blows, Monkey D. Garp was able to overwhelm Don Chinzhou, which means that from a Poen Seed standpoint of DC, which is a proponent of his strength, Monkey D. Garp is equal to and actually superior than the same power that Don Chinzhou used to cut the Ice Sheet continent. That is what Poen Seed is. Now, Poen Seed can be fairly tricky to gauge, truth be told, to where even if a character does show a great area of effect, that can also be upped when it comes to their overall DC if their Poen Seed appears to be greater because of certain factors. So, again, back to One Piece here, you'd have, let's say, Monkey D. Luffy and the King Kong gun. We saw the King Kong gun did to the surrounding city area of Dressrosa and how the land itself caved in, but that was a result of hitting Don Flamingo and bypassing his string attack and then hitting Don Flamingo into the ground itself. But that was not an actual King Kong gun that was clean on someone's face or someone's body. So the Poen Seed of the King Kong gun that we see in Dressrosa is probably far more powerful than the actual area of effect that we see in Dressrosa, because the area of effect that we do see is the result of Don Flamingo being hit into the ground by the King Kong gun, as well as the King Kong gun breaking through the 16 holy bullets. All that matters when it comes to gauging Poen Seed. So in a series like One Piece, in a series like HunterXHunter, like for example, if let's say there was an attack, and a mission's attack, that was of the same caliber as, let's say, Uvogan's Big Bang attack, and they crossed, and you can see that they cancel out each other, then that mission attack, that ability has the same DC Poen Seed as Uvogan's Big Bang attack. So in a series like HunterXHunter, in a series like One Piece, where the battle systems are fairly complex, or can be very complex, then Poen Seed is a more prominent thing, whereas in, let's say, Dragon Ball, not so much, because everything is kind of oriented around the ki, and it's very easy to tell, okay, well, ki is the foundation of this, so it kind of gauges one's strength, one's DC, one's durability, and so on and so forth. But again, like let's say in HunterXHunter, or let's say Toriko, there's so many other abilities to gauge that Poen Seed becomes more relevant in those series. So that is DC in a nutshell. I don't want to go too deep into it because I can go deeper with certain series, but in a general sense, that's how I perceive DC. You have, once again, Area of Effect, and then you have Poen Seed. Now, the second category is strength. And strength is fairly simple, straightforward. A lot of times, it's not too complicated. A lot of times, but again, it depends on the series. Like, for example, in One Punch Man, it's very simple. Like, there are some characters that can up their strength via power-ups, but a lot of times, it's just Saitama, one punch, and the story. So, striking strength is simply that. Saitama, punch, and then he eviscerates everything that we see. So, a key example of, let's say, DC Poen Seed, but as well as striking strength, would be Saitama and Lord Boros. Lord Boros unleashed an attack that, according to him, would destroy the entire planet. But Saitama used the Serious Series. He used the Serious Series, and he was able to completely divert the damage of that attack and beat Lord Boros, overwhelm Lord Boros with the shockwave of that attack. So, what does that mean? That means that even though Lord Boros had an attack that would have destroyed the planet, Saitama, with his Serious Series punch, was able to beat and overwhelm Lord Boros' attack. Now, by the way, I do forget if Lord Boros did state that it would destroy the planet, but I'm pretty sure he said something to that effect. But I'm going off top memory for this video, so I do apologize, but it is what it is. So that means that Saitama's striking strength with the Serious Series, if Saitama wants it to be, his striking strength, which also correlates to his DC Poen Seed, because Saitama is just a dude that's extraordinarily powerful, at the end of the day, that is planetary level. That is planetary level. As far as I recall, again, according to what Lord Boros said about the attack, and again, I could be wrong about that, if Lord Boros did not say that the attack could destroy a planet, but if he did say it could destroy a planet, then Saitama is rocking that level of physical strength for his striking strength. And when it comes to lifting strength, cut and dry. For example, Diamond Jozu. Diamond Jozu, One Piece, punch the ground, lift an iceberg, throw the iceberg over his head, Monkey D. Garp, giant steel ball, One Piece, threw that with relative ease. And Toriko, the Monkey King, Bambina, had he picked up a mountain, carried the mountain to the edge of his continent, and he threw the mountain across the planet at Mach 1. Lifting strength. Fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Again, you can break that down in other categories, like let's say throwing strength. If someone is, let's say, telekinetic, you can maybe bring in the mental strength component as well. If you can actually scale that with actual physical strength, if that's possible. Because in some series, you can, like maybe in Mob Psycho, you could maybe do that. So, again, strength, I would say, is cut and dry. But those are clear-cut examples of lifting strength and striking strength in a general sense. So that's category number 2 when it comes to gauging overall combat ability. Category 3, I would say, in a lot of senses, the most controversial category, because a lot of mangaka, especially in Bleach is stupid when it comes to gauging its category. Like, it really is. Because Bleach does, I say, a good job of representing this category in relation to other characters within its verse, but as a whole, to gauge it like in a general sense, it's hard. And that category is speed. Speed, I would say, is the hardest category to gauge by a mile. Speed is, unless the series can give you good indications of speed, then it's hard. It is hard. So let me give you cut and dry examples of this, all right? In Dragon Ball Super, Dispo is said to be able to accelerate faster than light with his light bullet. I believe that's what it's called. In his light speed state, I think it was called light speed mode, the order that he used to fight against Frieza in the anime. I forget what the actual name was. But he also moves at the speed of light in this continuous form. And in this form, the Zenos, the God Babies, cannot perceive his movements well at all, which would mean that their reaction speed, though they are God Babies, they could not perceive movements that fast. Another cut and dry example would, let's say, be Kizaru in One Piece, where Kizaru in One Piece, he moves at the speed of light. He is eating the Pika Pika no Mi fruit. Therefore, he is a light human. He moves and travels at the speed of light. Another example of speed being indicated quite well in the series would be, let's say, Cheme Netero in HunterXHunter, where he could punch faster than the speed of sound. I was indicated fairly well when it came to his past and how he trained for that, how he continued the same method over and over again of prayer and a single punch, and he continued that and a single punch. In Toriko, all of the 8 Kings actually have reaction speeds that are faster than light, and some of them do have movement speeds that are faster than light, like the Mother Snake in Toriko. You get what I'm saying here. There are some characters in series that give you speed cut and dry when it comes to how fast they are, and then you can gauge the rest of the cast in relation to that individual. But a lot of times there are certain instances of speed where if the cast of characters in particular is a fairly large cast of characters and you're trying to gauge how fast that character is, then it becomes very difficult. And this is extra hard in Bleach, because in Bleach, so okay, let me not bring it to Bleach. Let me actually go to Naruto for a second. So in Naruto, you have, let's say, regular lightning, and then you have chakra lightning. Chakra lightning is what is actually created internally in the body through hand signs and ninjutsu. But in the case of Sasuke, for example, with the Kirin, or the Kari, the lightning dragon, Sasuke had to manipulate the environment itself and use his internal chakra lightning to then manipulate actual lightning, and we see that done against Itachi, and in the anime, we see it done against Naruto in the final fight. However, Itachi, you can say, also reacted to lightning attack because he was able to put up his defenses before the attack hit. Now, the context of that was, of course, Itachi staring up at the sky and so on and so forth, but nonetheless, you can say that he did react to lightning. Therefore, Itachi has lightning speed reaction. The same thing would go for, let's say, Monkey D. Luffy and NL, where we see Luffy actually kick a lightning bolt that's coming to him. So, pre-time skip Luffy has lightning speed reaction in some cases. In the case of Naruto, and let's say Madara, Madara used a Sage attack that was a light speed oriented Sage attack, and Naruto dodged the attack. That means that Naruto, though, and this is where it gets even more, this is where things get even more complex, though inconsistent, because the consistency of the speed also matters too, but nonetheless, he did react to a light speed attack, which would mean that Naruto infrequently has light speed reaction. The inverse of that would, like, let's say, be Rayleigh in One Piece, where he's fighting against a light speed individual, and though it was in a One Piece special, he himself did state that because of an ability that he has, which is Kenbosho no Haki, he was able to perceive the speed of light. So with that ability, he can continuously perceive the speed of light. So speed itself can be broken into the major subcategories of reaction speed, attack speed, so how fast an attack is, movement speed, and agility, because agility is a component of speed, more so dexterity, nimble, so on and so forth. I used to categorize agility as its own different thing, but agility in a lot of cases is such a strong component of reaction speed, but at the same time, its own different thing, because you have to be able to move in a certain way, especially, like, let's say, under a barrage of attacks, to be able to weave in and out of those attacks. Because the thing here is this: you can dodge a barrage of attacks flat out if you're fast enough. But in a lot of series, like I think Sanji in One Piece is a prime example of this, you can weave in and out of the attacks using both your movement speed and reaction speed, and if you're flexible enough. So agility is its own category when it comes to speed, but then you have the subcategories in movement speed of both travel speed and combat movement speed. So an example would say, let's be Dragon Ball Super. In Dragon Ball Super, the angels have their staves, and they're able to travel across the cosmos with their staves. But that travel speed of being able to use their staves, hit the ground, and then travel across the cosmos, even though that travel speed is clearly several of orders of magnitude faster than light, that is completely different than their combat speed, which relies on no such ability. Their combat speed is entirely different than their travel speed, because their combat speed is, I would argue, a lot slower than several orders of magnitude faster than the speed of light, which they use to travel across the cosmos. Another prime example of this difference in both travel speed and, let's say, combat speed would be Kenshin Imura from Rurouni Kenshin. When Kenshin Imura is running to a location as fast as he can, he is running at, like, let's say, peak human speeds, maybe plus. But when he's fighting, he's using the Hiten Mitsurugi style. And he's disgustingly fast when he's disgustingly fast when he's using that style. So again, there is a key difference between combat speed and travel speed, and then also speed as a whole. There is consistency in set speed where a character can showcase this maybe once or twice, as opposed to on a regular basis. A regular basis speed is different than an actual inconsistent speed. Like, speed is complex. I would say speed, among all the categories to gauge, I would say it's the hardest category. Second, if only to abilities, because abilities for characters can differentiate so much if the series itself is fairly complex in their ability pool. But that speed in a general sense. Again, this video is here to kind of just break things down for you orderly so you can kind of get a better sense here. So that's number 3 when it comes to overall combat ability. Number 4, plain and simple, durability. Durability is how much damage you can take that is 0. That is no damage at all. Big Mom is a perfect case of One Piece, where Big Mom has very high durability. Bullets, cannon fire, swords, spears, they bounce off of Big Mom. They just doink. No damage to Big Mom. 0 damage to Big Mom. Respect her. Another example, though an odd example, but still an example. Another example would be, let's say, Botamo in Dragon Ball Super, where Botamo has probably the highest durability in the entire Dragon Ball Super cast, where Botamo takes virtually no damage, virtually 0 damage from physical attacks, or even, let's say, I think even key attacks too. However, you may confuse that for endurance, which is the next category, which is category number 5. Category number 5 when it comes to the list. But endurance is different than durability in the sense of endurance is how much damage you can withstand. So we're talking about durability, tanking, how much damage you can take that equals 0. And then endurance is more so pain soak. How much damage you're able to withstand and continue fighting. The prime example of this is, without a doubt, Whitebeard in One Piece. Whitebeard had a stat sheet before he died of the wounds he took, excluding Akainu's magma fist. He had half his face blown off. He took a magma punch directly in the chest, and there was a gaping hole in his chest. A gaping, massive hole. Narrator notes that he took X amount of bullet wounds, X amount of stab wounds, X amount of cannon fire. And on top of that, Whitebeard was fairly old and was ill. And he continued to fight despite all of the damage that he took. That is endurance. Being able to continue to fight despite overwhelming pain. Another example of this would be, let's say, the gates in Naruto, where you have my guy. When my guy, shout out to my guy, because my guy, one of the best characters in Naruto, bar none. When my guy was using the 8th Gate of Death, and he became the Red Beast, when he first used the Sekizo, the Elephant Step, he actually had to stop because his bones were starting to fracture as a result of being in this form. But after he had adjusted to the pain, he could continue to use all of the steps of the Sekizo, which means that during this form, he showed the endurance to be able to continue to attack Madara Uchiha despite the massive amount of pain he was under. And you can also break down endurance into both physical and mental subcategories, where, again, physical, Whitebeard, my guy, and mental, let's say Kakashi, where in the case of Naruto, Itachi Uchiha attacked we all know the scene. Itachi Uchiha attacked Kakashi with the Mangekyou Sharingan and had Kakashi in a Genjutsu, which I think it was 72 hours. 72 hours, Kakashi was mentally assaulted by Itachi. At least it was 72 hours within the Genjutsu, but only like a few minutes or a few seconds in the actual physical world. But that being said, he continued to assault Kakashi's psyche with the spears in the Genjutsu over and over and over and over and over again. So Kakashi was able to stay conscious for only a few minutes afterwards, but he was still conscious after all that mental damage, if you would. So durability and endurance can be broken down in both physical and mental subcategories. But normally, mental is on the endurance side. Unless a series, like, again, a psychic-oriented series, they would have to have mental durability to, like, let's say, block out any psychic invaders into their mind. But in a lot of cases, you don't normally see durability of the mental state. But again, that's a thing. The next category, number 6, right here, is range. Range is just cut and dry, just how far your attacks can go, or how far you can perceive an attack to somebody. The Tail Beast Bomb of the 10 Tails, the Mother Snake and Toriko, snipers, for example, have very long range. So that is a very simple cut and dry component of overall combat ability. Number 7, cut and dry, intelligence. Intelligence matters in a fight. If someone is your relative equal, with the exception of intelligence, then you win. It's that simple. Yes, intelligence matters in a fight, but overall, number 7, intelligence. Number 8, stamina, also cut and dry. That you could, again, also maybe perceive it in both mental and physical ways, or maybe even also spiritual ways too, or energy ways, because in a lot of series, you have energy sources like chakra, like nen. However, that is all under the branch of general stamina. Unless in a series, it is particularly noted that physical stamina is different than, let's say, energy stamina, where there are two different pools of stamina. But a lot of times, that's not the case. For example, in Naruto and Dragon Ball, if you have no more ki, or if you have like very little chakra, then that also correlates to your stamina, where you're also low on stamina. So a lot of times they're one and the same. But there could be series out there that do differentiate between energy pools, whether it's physical, mental, ki, whatever it is. So if that's the case, then you note that when you're applying stamina to overall combat ability. Number 9 is experience. And experience is what it is. Also kind of cut and dry. And this actually applies to a lot of, let's say, Bleach characters, where Bleach characters have been around for tens of thousands of years. Or let's say Toriko characters, where in Toriko, some of the demons have been around for hundreds of millions. In some cases, billions. Like Neo was 5 billion plus years old. Like, that's a lot of experience to build right there. So, 5 billion, bro? Yeah, that's a lot of experience. So, experience also matters in the fight as well. However, in the past, what I did, and honestly, I think it still applies, but for the sake of this video, I kept them separate. However, ability and intelligence, for the sake of a fight, all means adaptability. That's all it really means in a general sense. Whereas from an overall combat ability standpoint, you can separate them quite easily. So, again, it does matter when it comes to gauge how powerful a character is, whether it's in within series or cross series. But you can put intelligence and experience under the same branch, under adaptability. You can do that. And then finally, number 10, last part of the video, abilities. And abilities, they have a whole slew of subcategories. The main ones would be techniques, skills, and powers, or power structures. Ki, Dragon Ball, Nen, HunterXHunter, Magic, 7 Deadly Sins, so on and so forth. Techniques, any particular technique, like let's say time stop. Skills, like would be, let's say, martial arts techniques. These things are all under the ability branch. And the ability branch is, I would say, in most cases, it is the largest branch to gauge when it comes to gauging overall combat ability. Though again, I still say that speed is hard to gauge overall. And that is it. That's it. When it comes to overall combat ability, these are the 10 major branches that I use to gauge how powerful a character is within a respective series and cross series. And in a lot of cases, one category can overwhelm the other categories. Like a person's durability can be so powerful to where the DC or the strength or the speed of the opponent character doesn't matter. And those situations do exist, but they tend to exist when you're doing cross-series stuff and not really within series. Like if you have Dragon Ball Super against Rurouni Kenshin, I mean, that is, I love Kenshin, I love Shishio, and Nishi's a beast, but yeah. That's just a yeah right there. If you wanted to perceive characters in a greater sense, here you go when it comes to their combat ability. Helps me out. Hopefully he help you out too. And I know I can go deeper into some of these components. And if you have stuff to add, let me know. Just let me know. So on that note, be sure to rate the video. It is not that hard to do. I guarantee you that. Because I know that you all have a device called Zamasu. You use Zamasu to click, rate the video, to click, subscribe, to click on that bell to join the squad. And of course, comment in the comment section down below. Peace. And have a nice goddamn day.